guys, it's good to see you. Miss Chase here. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about how to make some art inspired by kente cloth, which is a type of cloth that's woven in Ghana in West Africa. I hope you enjoy this demonstration.
I'm working on my kente cloth design, and one of the things that's going to help me is I have this handout that has all these different symbols and what they mean. For example, this is called the Akoma. It's a heart and it means patience or tolerance. I've taken a second to sketch out the different symbols that I know I definitely want to use in my pattern. I'm going to use the heart shape. I'm also using this other shape, which is called a Besesaka. It's about unity. This one is a spider web, and it has to do with wisdom and creativity, so I thought that might be nice. And then there's also this cross shape, and that means good fortune. So I thought those would be nice to include in my my drawing, my kente cloth inspired weaving drawing. The next thing I have is I have a handout that talks about the different colors. The different colors in the weavings mean different things, so that's kind of cool. So for example, blue means peace, togetherness, love, and harmony. Black is mourning, so that's it has to do with spiritual energy and also mourning, like if somebody passes away, which can be kind of sad. There's different meanings for gold and green and yellow, red, purple, all of those things, which is really great. Now I'm going to start splitting my paper up. So I'm going to be using my pencil, and I have the regular drawing paper, and I do this freehand. I usually just sort of take and I will draw very lightly freehand, like a horizon line across my paper, and then I'll split it up in half the other way, going up and down as well. So I'm just trying my best to make sure I'm doing that sort of equitably. But if you feel like you want something that is a little more rigid to use, and we don't really have the use of our rulers right now, you might have your own, but if you don't, you can use the side of something like this colored pencil box, or a Crayola marker box, or something like that. It makes it pretty easy to split your paper up. So I just, you can see I'm just kind of holding that and dragging my pencil across it. It's not going to be perfect, but that's okay. I think these kind of look better when they're not totally perfect. The kente cloth weavings, as they're worn, they tend to kind of pull and move, and so they're not always perfectly symmetrical either. So you can see I have now split my paper up really quickly and easily into this checkerboard pattern. Within that pattern, I'm going to start adding in some of my different designs. So for example, if I wanted to do that heart design, I could start putting it in right here, and I'm just going to kind of draw it in really lightly, and I'm going to put that into a couple of different boxes. So I might have it here, and I'm just going to, again, very lightly draw it in. I'm drawing this sideways because I was thinking that this would kind of go this way, so I can move that around so that you guys can see it a little better. And then I'm going to draw, maybe I'll have it one over here in the corner as well. So as I'm going, I will continue to fill up my whole entire page, okay? So as you can see, here's an example of where I've started to fill in more, and I would kind of continue to fill this in until everything is filled in with pencil. In addition to the symbols that I've used, okay, so here's an example that is quite far along. In addition to those symbols, I've used the spider web and the cross and that flower shape. I've also used some stripes and some checks and some zigzags, just to break my patterns up and make them more interesting. Now, I'm going to start by talking to you guys a little bit here about marker. And when I'm using marker, I like to use the lighter colors first. So you'll notice, like in the spiderweb design here, I used the yellow first, and I made that. And then once I'm done with that, I'm going to go around with my darker color, and I'm just going to outline it. And that's going to help me be able to kind of fill in around it. So I'm just gonna kind of keep going here. And you can see, like, so I went over that yellow there, and that's okay because the orange goes right up over the yellow. So again, that's why I use the yellow first and then the orange. Now that I've done that, I'm actually just gonna take and I'm gonna start using the side of my marker to fill in my spaces a little bit better. And you don't always use the side. If you have a smaller space, you want to use the tip of the marker to color in. But where you can, it makes it much easier to do. Okay, so that one's all filled in. Now I might decide I want to use something different with this. Maybe I want to use some of those colored pencils. So like with this flower shape, I started to use some of the colored pencil because I really like this blue color. I thought it was really pretty, and blue means peace, and I think we can always use a little bit of peace in our world. So I'm just going to kind of do the same thing. I'm going to go right around, outline around my shapes. The thing I really like about these colored pencils, other than the color, is that as the lead wears down, it's, oh, I just broke that, that's okay. As the lead wears down, I just twist up the colored pencil instead of having to sharpen it. I think that's kind of a real bummer with some of the other colored pencils, is that you constantly have to sharpen them. It's just, you know, it's one of those things I feel like it takes away from the coloring. So the fact that you can very easily sharpen your colored pencil by just twisting it up is a really, really nice thing. One of the things that I'm doing as I'm coloring this in, and you guys can see, I'm moving my paper around. That's just because it's easier for me to color by moving my paper around. You may feel differently. Do what's comfortable for you. But I find that for me, it's just easier. I'm thinking about also how I am bearing down on my pencil. If I want the color to be darker, I'm gonna bear down harder. If I want the color to be lighter, I'm not gonna bear down as hard. I'm bearing down pretty hard here. That's why I broke the pencil before. And I'm gonna go back over my lines in different directions to really fill it in well, okay? So I'm just I'm coloring away, and I'm thinking about how I'm bearing down on my pencil. I'm outlining the lines that I want to stay within. I'm not worrying about, these shapes are a little wonky, but I kind of like that about them. Some of the designs are a little more difficult to do than others. And so I'm just going to kind of go through and color this in. Once I've colored this all in, I think I'm going to outline it, just because I think that that'll kind of sharpen it up. You'll notice I did that over here for this one as well. So I'm just going to outline it with Sharpie once I'm all done. And I'm going to make my circle, I kind of went over my line a little bit there, so I'll just make my circle a little bit smaller. Not a big deal. I'm going to have a make it work sort of moment. And I think for this square, I might leave my background white. I'm not sure yet. I'm going to kind of wait to see as I get closer to finishing it. I might go back in at the end and fill in with something else. I'm not really sure right now. Okay, so now that I have that all colored in, I'm going to grab my Sharpie. I'm using the fine point Sharpie. It's that thicker one, not the ultra fine. And I'm just going to kind of go around my lines just to neaten this up a little bit. I think it'll just make it look a little bit better. And again, if I need to, I'll move the paper you'll notice that I stopped there and now I'm gonna kind of go back in. I find it easier to do that when I have something with a point that goes inward rather than trying to do it all at once. I stop, I pick up my Sharpie, and then I'll put it back down and kind of start again. Okay, now I don't want to waste all your time. I don't want you to have to watch me color for hours and hours and hours. So I think what I will do is I'm going to continue to color and fill in my different patterns. Some of them are a little more simple than others, and some of them are more complicated, but I think I'll kind of continue to fill those in, and then I'll show you my finished product when I am all done. One thing I would mention is that when I do things like work on my stripes, I have kind of 2 blocks or 3 blocks of stripes, and then I have 2 blocks of squares, and then my zigzags. I'll work on those ones at the same time so that I don't get confused on what colors I'm putting where.
Hi everyone. So it's been a day later, and I've been working really hard on my Kente cloth design mixed media drawing, and I wanted to share the finished product with you. You can see it's changed a little bit since the beginning of the video. I've added a lot of colored pencil design and some Sharpie. I outlined the spider webs with some purple just to give it a little pop and a pizzazz, and I think I am all done. I just want to let you know that I hope you enjoy using some sort of pattern making in your art, no matter what you make. If you make a Kente inspired picture, or you make something that maybe has stripes in it, or zigzags or checks, whatever that may be, just remember a pattern is something that repeats itself and can be used in art in a variety of ways. Bye.